Dubious ones, welcome back to the channel for something very, very special, as I'm going to introduce you to the greatest wrestling game franchise that you probably didn't know exists. And even if you did know it exists, you didn't realize that in one of their games, and in multiple of their games actually, is buried the single greatest career mode in wrestling game history. We're talking about branching story paths. We're talking about playing in other promotions, jumping ship. Your choices matter. Your choices reflect in how and where you go. I am talking about Fire Pro Wrestling, and specifically today, Fire Pro Wrestling G for the original PlayStation, released in 1999. Now, you might be asking, why am I bringing this to your attention? Well, right now, we're in a renaissance of sorts of wrestling games and what is important in a wrestling game and what people really care about with AEW Fight Forever, with Ultra Pro Wrestling, with all the other wrestling games, the Wrestling Code, obviously the whole entire 2K series, and people argue all the time. Was No Mercy the best wrestling game of all time? Was it Here Comes the Pain? Was it SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, 8, 2009? Was it this? Was it 2K12, 13, 14, 2K19, 2K24? What was the best wrestling game and why? Well, I'm going to tell you, bar none, the best career mode we've ever gotten outside of a WWE game, and probably even better than all of the WWE games, but we can't say for sure. You know why? Because you and I don't speak Japanese. So unfortunately, the majority of us, 99% of us, never even got to experience, let alone even know this career mode existed. So let me just turn you on right now, just to the very base intro of Fire Pro G. This game came out in 1999 for the original PlayStation. Music's pretty cool. So you get to see some famous Japanese wrestlers. You'll probably recognize a person or two. And obviously for licensing reasons, they can't use the NWO branding or real branding of certain promotions. But you know who is who. But you're going to see some real specific names coming up soon. The Great Sasuke, Goldberg, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, The Stinger, The Great Muta, Scott Norton and Ultimo Dragon, Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Taka Michinoku, and now we're back to some legends and some Japanese wrestlers. I'm not sure who they all are either. But this game, if you're not familiar, has hundreds upon hundreds of wrestlers. So let's go right into just the roster alone. Fire Pro G for the original PlayStation. This game was released 25 years ago. Fire Pro G offers the ultimate experience for the PlayStation 1 with a massive roster of 193 wrestlers in 99, with 56 in the edit mode, which means they had to create a wrestler that had 56 templates of real wrestlers for you to use off the base. This game, with all unlocks and all the characters combined, 250 characters in the base roster. And I believe the create a wrestler count, I believe it's about 100. It might be a little bit more, it might be actually a little bit less. I'm not 100% sure. But you had created wrestlers for this game. Now, to give you an idea of some of the massive roster and from all the different promotions, let's take a look here at the database. As we can see, the release date was June 24th, 1999. Now, forget the modes of play for a moment. We are going to talk very much about the Fighting Road, which is their single player campaign, and the Edit Mode, which is your create a wrestler. You can edit organizations, rename them, everything you could think of in 1999. So they had wrestlers from New Japan Pro Wrestling, obviously. Legends like Inoki, Riki Chosu, Tatsumi Fujinami, Shinya Hashimoto, and a ton. Masahiro Chono, Keiji Muto, all your legends, they're all here. Like, look at some of these names. Of course, we had Yuji Nagata, for more familiar to Western fans from his time in WCW or AEW more recently. But we had Tenzan, Kojima, just all the big names you could think of. Jushin Thunder Liger, Dynamite Kid, Tiger Mask. Just all the big names you could think of were in this game. We also had All Japan Pro Wrestling for guys like Giant Baba, Jumbo Tsuruta, Misawa, Kabashi, Kawada. The list goes on and on. Dory Funk Jr., Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, Vader, Gary Albright, Johnny Ace. It just keeps on going. Then we get to the independents. We have guys like the Great Kabuki, Onita, Hayabusa, Masato Tanaka, Mr. Pogo. Just non-stop. And in the independents, Sabu, Terry Funk, Tiger Jeet Singh, Abdullah the Butcher, Rob Van Dam was in this game in 1999. We had Michinoku Pro. So we had Taka Michinoku, the Great Sasuke, or Great Sasuke, however you want to pronounce it, Tiger Mask. We had WCW. We had the likes of North American wrestlers from WCW, like Ric Flair, with WCW as a promotion in the game. Ric Flair, Hollywood Hogan, Bill Goldberg, Scott Norton, Sting, Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner. Ooh, yeah! Randy Savage, Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, Diamond Dallas Page, The Great Muta, Bam Bam Bigelow, The British Bulldog, Conan. They even had the fake Sting. In this game. Ultimo Dragon, Kaz Hayashi, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Psychosis, Rey Mysterio Jr. And then you had the WWF. You had legends like Andre the Giant. You had Stone Cold Steve Austin. You had the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, Dr. Death Steve Williams, Terry Gordy, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, The Big Show, The Rock, Mankind, Ken Shamrock, Kane, Dan Severn, Mike Burton, Goldust, The Patriot, Doug Furnace, Shochi Funaki, Chris Jericho, and Phil LaFawn. You had different rings from different organizations. Oh, no, sorry, Rings was a different organization. We had K1 stars like Ernesto Hoost. We had Battle Arts. I don't even know what that is. I'm assuming another MMA organization like Pancrase. It had Minoru Suzuki. It had Bas Rutten. From AAA, we had Mil Mascaras, Dos Caras, Negro Casas, Dr. Wagner Jr. We had gruesome fighters like Ensign Inouye, Rickson Gracie. Don Fry is in this game. Don freaking Fry from the original UFC is in this game. Ken Shamrock's in this game. We had free agents like Takada, Kenichi Yamamoto, Super Delphin. Just so many. And legends like Carl Gotch, Lou Thez, Ricky Dozen, Super Tiger. Edit exclusives. So you see in the edit exclusives that they have pre-made for you to create, they have the template there of the character for guys like Rick Rude, Ted DiBiase, Yokozuna, Dusty Rhodes, Dean Malenko, Royce Gracie, The Ultimate Warrior. These guys were just by default in their Create a Wrestler with their template ready to go. Just crazy. Jushin Liger from 89. Jushin Firelogger from 89. Razor Ramon. Like the Sakuraba. This game was crazy. Sandman, Bob Backlund, just incredible. The amount of characters they threw at you in this game. But dubious ones, that's not why I'm bringing this game from 1999 to your attention. The reason I'm bringing this game to your attention is because we have a full translation guide here for their single player story and all the many choices you make that change the branching paths that you go down. So it translates each dialogue, but we're going to mainly focus on any of the branching story prompts. So when you have your first branching prompt right now, if you pick A, you'll get choices to go towards New Japan, is View Japan Pro Wrestling in the game, because again, they can't use the officially licensed names. But VJP means New Japan Pro Wrestling, OJP means All Japan Pro Wrestling, H+2, I'm not sure which one that is. And then if you pick B, you go to Independent Wrestling or USA, or you get the H+1 or it is. And if you pick C, you go towards, I think these are the like MMA style organizations here. But you can see what choices you make will give you more favor towards each one. And then they give you the translation for each response you gave. This is crazily in depth. Crazily in depth. And let's just follow along. We have dialogue prompt 2. Let's just type in USA if we want to follow the USA prompts. So you want to pick C for prompt 2 to get a +1 towards USA. Then at dialogue prompt 3, to get the +1, you want to pick A. And then in dialogue prompt 4, you want to pick C to go towards USA. Prompt 5, you're going to go with that. And you understand the idea. You get all these prompts, and then eventually you hit something like WWC. This was WCW. Let's go. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to number 1. So, to get to World Championship Wrestling, you make the right choices, and then once you get to the story prompt, you start in America. And then it gives you all the translations for if you ended up here. The fun thing is when you have your first match in WCW, you have the choice of going to the WWF, so you have Taka Michinoku saying it was the voice of none other than Waka, because again, they can't use officially licensed names in this game. So Taka Michinoku is Waka Michinoku. But you hear the voice of none other than Taka Michinoku, Waka Yukijinui, of the WFW. And Waka, you get the dialogue prompts and you say, hey, he basically says, do you want to join me in the WWF? What do you think about joining the WWF? So your choice will choose whether you stay in WCW or you move in the new branching path forward in WFW or WWF in this game. So the choices you make will consistently change your branching paths, whether you go to WWF, whether you go to WCW with WWC and you stay there. But this game, look how long, just to give you an idea. Let's go to the top. Just to give you an idea of this translation page of how in-depth this story mode was and the different branching paths. I'm going to spin my mouse wheel as fast as I can from top to bottom to give you all the translations for the million different branching paths and different choices where you can get for different finishes to your story mode. Look at this. It's still going. Look where it is over here. It's not even close to the middle. Not even close. Look at all the dialogue. Different choices, different branching paths. I'm spinning this as fast as I can. We're only down here now. We're going down all the different branching paths. This is just a translation. Again, let's stop it here. This is just translating the dialogue based on your different branching paths that you go down. This is a tragedy that there is no English path or sorry, like hacked ROM or translation, save file translation, you can get certain things translated. Like I have a save file translation for wrestler names, but the game is still in Japanese, even emulated. It's still in Japanese. Where Super Fire Pro Wrestling X Premium came out the game before this in 1996 for the Super Nintendo, I was playing that 25 years ago on an emulator. I was playing that game on emulator. Let's mute this. I don't need the sound. But I was playing that game on emulator in 1999, in 1998, 99, 2000, over 20 years ago, and it was fully hacked and translated the ROM into English. This game came out in 99. We're in 2024. I looked high and low. There's no full translation for this game into English. There is no version of this game you can play where it's fully all in English, which is bananas to me. And what is also bananas to me, what you guys need to know about this game, because this had one of the greatest, if not the greatest, branching career modes ever. This was the last Fire Pro game that was developed, as we're going to see. Let's look at the beginning here. Human Entertainment. Human is the one who made all the Fire Pro games before Fire Pro G. And Fire Pro G, this was the last Fire Pro game made before they were acquired and became Spike Chunsoft. Spike Chunsoft made the most recent Fire Pro game and every Fire Pro game that came after this. It was a lot of the same staff, but they never, ever, ever had a career that was this much of a branching storyline and this in-depth. Now, Fire Pro Wrestling World, that you can get on Steam or on PlayStation, the most recent Fire Pro game, does have a very good career. With branching story paths, fun, great, awesome. But I wish this game had an English translation fully in the game, modded, or however, because I see mods of No Mercy all the time, where people are modding old games to current day. And the fact that nobody has translated this game entirely, actually into English, it breaks my heart. It really does. Because this game was my childhood. I literally bought this game online in like 99 or 2000, 2001. I bought this copy. I found somewhere selling to buy this game online way when the internet was in its infancy. Found somewhere to buy it online when I didn't even own a PlayStation. I bought a physical copy of this game from Japan to play it on a Bleem emulator because I was such a Fire Pro fan back then. And because I knew this was the best game they ever made. And I literally had the entire translation for the game. The menus, the screens, the everything, the create a wrestler, everything. I had them printed out. These were hundreds of pages of printouts to translate this game into English so I could navigate the menus and learn and be able to play this game on an emulator, a Bleem emulator in like 2000. Emulators have come a long way since then. The emulator wasn't perfect back then, but I bought a physical copy of this game to play with an emulator back then because I was such a fan. Because this game really was the pinnacle back then of wrestling games. If you, outside of your No Mercy and your WrestleMania 2000, and this game came out before both of them, right? Or right around WrestleMania 2000 time. This was like around WCW NWO Revenge time when this came out. This game was chef's kiss, the best there was. Now, obviously, predating this, we had Fire Pro Wrestling 6-Man Scramble for the Sega Saturn, which is a great game. But if for whatever reason didn't have this great branching story mode, career mode, it just had like basically you run the gauntlet until you get to the title, maybe get a couple cutscenes at the end or whatever, and then you go into your title matches. It was basically just like it was like WCW's NWO Revenge's, just you play the title match. You just play match after match after match until you get to the title match. That was a lot of the Fire Pro series. This game had, again, possibly the best branching story paths where all your decisions matter. And they put you in a different category, a different story finish. You get different finishes to the story. And the reason I bring all this to your attention, the reason I want you to know this, is because I want your feedback, because I'm thinking about playing this game on stream and making some videos about the entire story mode with the translations. So where I'll read out what the translations are for each branching story path and try and follow along in the massive, massive branching story paths that we see like this. Like I'm not going to go through every story path, obviously, but I do want to play through the WWF and the WCW story paths for sure, and maybe the MMA one as well. And I just want to see, the different cutscenes, the different, matches we get, all the different stuff, because this is massive. This story mode is crazy huge. And the fact that there's still these translation things out there on things like GameFAQs over here, where you get to do this. And by the way, if I haven't mentioned, the story path is you have to create your own wrestler. And I guess I'll have to do my moveset and everything, because you can't just pick an in-game wrestler for this. You create a wrestler, and then you go through all the branching story paths and everything. But these games were renowned for having hundreds and thousands of moves. Way more than we'd ever seen in North America to date. No Mercy was the closest thing to getting even close to the moveset that these games had at the time. And it was absolutely unbelievable. For $19.99, this stuff was crazy. But let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on a game that you probably never heard of. If you're familiar with Fire Pro G, let me know. If you've played the story mode, let me know. And if you're excited to see me play this on stream and maybe make some videos about its career mode with the translations, let me know. Because I was going down a rabbit hole today thanks to Melon Bread on Twitter, as he was posting stuff about Fire Pro Wrestling S, Six Men Scramble. It made me think about it. And then I looked up all the Fire Pro games, and I found out that the majority of them didn't have a deep career story mode like this game did. I always remember playing this one, but not knowing exactly what my choices were doing or what to do. And if I looked at the translation, it was pretty much just to get into WCW or WWF. I don't even know if I played it the whole way through, because this was over 20 years ago. So I'm excited to get my hands on this game again, play it again. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Are you excited for it? Do you want to see me do it? Should I do it? Should I be making this a series on the channel? Should I just do it over a couple of streams? Should I be making videos on it? Let me know your thoughts down below, because I need to know, because this was one of, if not the greatest wrestling single-player campaign career with the most branching story paths where your decisions make a difference. And it's so cool to look back on this and see, like, the graphics look great for me for a PlayStation 1 game, a PS1 game in 1999. Absolutely phenomenal. So anyways, Dubious Ones, that is going to do it for this one. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I need your feedback down below. But until the next one, deuces.
Make way for Mr.